All right, starting with Hebrews 11:1 again. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. All right, so when we look at that, I want to take you to, let's go to Proverbs chapter 8, verse 20. As we're looking at the substance again regarding this faith. What is that substance? Proverbs 8, verse 20 reads, I lead the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of judgment. This is King David. How do you lead the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of judgment? Verse 21, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. This is spiritual. What's that substance? Following the ways of the prophets. That good report. So substance is more than things. Substance is something that the Most High gave us. That is a substance. The laws are a substance. Exodus chapter 20, because Hebrews 11 says, again, there was a substance involved for us to have this good report. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. We're going to Exodus chapter 21 again because we read Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, dealing with faith, and faith having a substance, and the elders having a good report. Exodus 21, it reads, and the Most High spoke all these words, saying, I am the Most High thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Substance. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. That's a form of substance. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Substance. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Most High thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto the thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Substance. That is a part of the good report, the keeping of the commandments. Verse 7, thou shalt not take thy name of the Most High thy power in vain, for the Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Look at Hebrews 11:1 again. So we read those to show you when it says in Hebrews 11:1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for. So now we have read the substance of the things hoped for is by keeping these laws, the Most High will what? Bless us. That's what Deuteronomy 28:1-15 is all about. If we heed our ears to the Most High's words, then we will be blessed with a what? It says, the evidence of things not seen, for by it elders obtain a good report. The Most High will see that we have a good report to receive what? The blessings. Okay? So that's what faith is all about when it comes to following the scriptures. It's not just some invisible thing. It's a substance involved to get a good report. And we read about it. We went there to see just a few things that the Most High don't want us to do. Okay? That's a substance. Let's go to First Ezra in the Apocrypha. Because it says the evidence of the things not seen, right? 2 Ezra chapter 1 in the Apocrypha. 2 Ezra chapter 1 in the Apocrypha. And let's go to verse 35. 2 Ezra chapter 1, verse 35. It reads, your houses, talking about the Israelites, the houses of the Israelites, and it's talking about your body, not so much the building houses. It's talking about your house is your name, your last name, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Issachar, Gad, 12 tribes of Israel, that's our houses. We come out of that people. Your houses will I give to a people that shall come, which not having heard of me, yet shall believe me. All right, that's faith. Right? Which not having heard of me, yet shall believe me. We believe in the Father. To whom I have showed no signs. The Most High ain't showed us no signs. What kind of signs? He hasn't showed us signs of faith as far as opening up the ocean for us. We haven't been freed from our captivity yet. Okay? But they're coming. So we have faith, right, that this thing is going to happen. Yet they shall do that I have commanded them. What is that we are supposed to be doing? He said, yet they shall do that I have commanded them. What did he command us to do? Keep his commandments. They have seen no prophets. I haven't seen Isaiah, Jeremiah. I haven't seen them, brothers, Ezekiel. Yet they shall call their sins to remembrance. Because I believe in their report, I'm calling my sins to remembrance. I believe what they say about the Father. I believe what Yahawashi said. I have no remembrance of seeing them, brothers, other than what I read in the scriptures. Yet they shall call their sins to remember. I'm calling my sins to remembrance. I read about Nehemiah, about the Sabbath day, and not supposed to be marrying strange women, not supposed to be eating all crazy types of food, eat the good of the land. I believe in their report. That's a good report. And acknowledge them. So it says they have seen no prophets, yet they shall call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them. Okay, so this is all a part of faith. Just because you haven't seen or haven't heard of his laws, it doesn't mean he is not here or his instructions are here. They're here. With faith in him, you can follow him. With faith in him, you will search for those scriptures. You will search for his laws. You will search for his understanding. By studying his instructions, you will receive a good report. You have to search and do. Okay? We have to do. This is all about what faith is. What faith is. He says that we will obtain a good report, he says in Hebrews 11:1 and 2. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32. I'm sticking with the scriptures. I mean, people talk about faith without even flipping a page in the Bible. But I'm showing y'all in the Bible, through the scriptures, that all this stuff is real because we believe the report of the prophets. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 17. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 17. And this is an example of how the Israelites failed to have a good report. It says, they sacrifice unto devils. Why did they do that? When the Most High said in Exodus 20:1, you should not unto me false gods. It says, they sacrifice unto devils, not to the Most High, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods. They came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begot thee, thou art unmindful. What rock? That was Yahawashi. Yahawashi was that rock. You can read about that in 1 Corinthians chapter 10. He was that rock. And has forgotten the Most High that formed thee. They forgot the Most High. He formed us from the womb. Verse 19. And when the Most High saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very forward, evil generation. Children in whom is no faith. See that? So it's telling you in the Old Testament what faith is. They didn't keep the commandments. This is why you can't get into the kingdom of heaven unless you keep his commandments and have the faith. Isn't that what it says in Revelation 14:12? Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments and the faith of HaMaShayach. You got to have the commandments and the faith of HaMaShayach. They go together. They go together. Look at verse 21 and 22. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 21 and 22. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase. Talking about this is a cataclysmic fire that's going to come in the near future. And set on fire the foundations of the mountains. You see that? This is what's going on. All these precludes of all these things happening is getting ready for something big. Just prepare yourselves. First, prepare your spirit, prepare your soul. Then prepare your household. Then prepare everything else that you need. Not things that you want, things that you need. Very important. So he said the Israelites in that time had no faith, so the report was bad. Faith has always been in the earth, even prior to this book coming to us. Faith has always been here. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Second Ezra chapter 6. The only thing that the brothers in the Old Testament didn't get that we got is we got to see what the promise was all about through HaMaShayach. They didn't receive that promise. They knew it was coming, but they didn't know what the promise was, which is the resurrection and everlasting life. That's what we see, that they're going to be perfected through us. Our forefathers are going to be perfected through us of preaching this word. That's why it's important that we have a lineage back to the 12 tribes of Israel, because we are perfecting all our forefathers that stood for the truth in this word. It ricochets all the way backwards. And this scripture is going to show you that, these scriptures. 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 1. And he said unto me in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, wherever the winds blew, before it thundered and lightning, wherever the foundations of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, wherever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together. This is all before that. Wherever the heights of the air was lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, wherever the chimneys of Zion were hot as volcanoes, and ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned. These are the inventions that we deal with today. This AI stuff, all this stuff is going to turn on us. This verse right here is talking about from now to Revelation chapter 7, verse 4 of sealing of the saints. This verse right here, verse 5. It's everything now summed up in one verse. And ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed that have gathered faith for a treasure. This is during the time of us. We are sealing faith for a treasure. The Most High is putting this in us during the time. So all these inventions that are being created are going to turn for the worse. Right there. Verse 6. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone. The Most High did it all. And through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. So this is the time that we're supposed to have that faith in HaMaShayach for a treasure. During these times of these crazy inventions, Most High saw all of this coming to pass. Even before the saints got sealed, he said, it was already written and mentioned of. Look at Revelation 7 and 4. Revelation 7 and 4. Let's start at 3. It says, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. So this is is that time of us being sealed. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So the Most High had already had all his plans. And it's in 2nd Ezra. Remember how 2nd Ezra came to pass. 2nd Ezra, they had lost everything through fires and through wars. And the Most High gifted Ezra, a prophet, to rewrite everything from the beginning to the end, just like Moses. He restored our laws. He trusted Ezra to write the books for all of Israel so we could be preserved. So this is why Ezra has this book. You have to wonder why people don't want us to read it, because everything that we need to know is in it. It talks about the coming of HaMaShayach. It talks about what's going to happen in the last days. It talks about war and rumors of wars that's going to happen. It talks about cataclysms, fires that's just going to erupt out of the ground, sinkholes, earthquakes, polar shifts. All the stuff was made for the Most High, for the saints to be sealed. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. All right, so if we keep the ordinances of the Most High, we have faith to the resurrection of our mortal bodies to follow HaMaShayach. It says, for by it obtain a good report. The elders had a preliminary report for us to read it and follow it. That's why I said in 2nd Ezra, which their eyes have never seen these prophets, but believed. Romans chapter 3, verse 3. Romans chapter 3, verse 3, it says, for what if some did not believe? What if you didn't believe the reports? Some people don't believe all the prophets. Some say they were lying. Some say the disciples were lying. They say they all got different reports. It says that Luke saw Yahawashi drink vinegar and wine out of a sponge and reject it, but Mark, John, and Matthew didn't see nothing. So some people say, well, that didn't happen, because one reported something different. We want them to report something different. We don't want them being like the police. They all copying each other's report about something they done did. They match, identical. We want different reports. When you look at Romans chapter 3, verse 3, it says, for what if some did not believe? You got to believe. Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? We got to keep his laws. Some people argue that he never came down on Mount Zion, that Moses wrote all those laws, that Moses got those laws from Egypt. No, the Most High brought them laws down. The laws have always been here. Egypt got them from our forefathers. The Most High forbid, yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged. So you have to be particular on what you say as well. Yeah, just say any blasphemy thing. Let's go to Sirach chapter 32. 32 verse 8. 32 verse 8. It says, let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words. Be as one that knoweth and yet holdeth his tongue. It's just like we read in Romans chapter 3, that we be justified in our sins. Verse 9, if thou be among great men, make not thyself equal with them, and when ancient men are in place, use not many words. Before the thunder goeth lightning, and before a shamefaced man shall go favor. All right, drop down, there's one other one, verse 12. It says, there take the pastime and do what thou wilt, but sin not by proud speech. There it is. Sin not by proud speech. Look at Romans chapter 3 and 4 again. And you can just say something crazy, off the wall stuff, try to make yourself look bigger. That got nothing to do with the Most High. That's why we establish ourselves on every word of the Most High. Romans chapter 3, verse 4. The Most High forbid, yea, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. We have to be justified through what? Through the scriptures. Not just saying something crazy. Not just something to make ourselves look bigger and better. Stick to the scriptures. Let's go to Romans chapter 3, verse 29. Romans 3 and 29. Is he the power of the Jews only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also. He created everything. Seeing it is one, the Most High, which shall justify the circumcision by faith, and uncircumcision through faith. Do we then make void the law through faith? The Most High forbid. Yet we established the law, so the law is still established. We do not do away with the law. Yahawashi never came to do away with the law. He said it himself. So how strong is your faith? Do you follow the instructions of his reports? Do you follow his laws? Will your belief protect you? What is your measure of faith? Everyone on this earth has a certain measure of belief or a certain measure of faith. And it's not always pertaining to the Father in heaven. People have faith in other areas. Some people have no measure of faith when it comes to God, to the Most High. They have none. Some people don't believe at all in the scriptures. Let's go to Matthew chapter 9. And the Most High ain't got nothing to do with them. I mean, we say he'll laugh at our calamity. You want to go against him? You will reap the destruction benefits. Matthew chapter 9, verse 27. Matthew chapter 9, verse 27. It reads, and when Yahawashi departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, Thou son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was come into the house, the blind man came to him. So wait a minute. Remember, they said, Thou son of David. So by them claiming that he was the son of David, what does that signify to you regarding him, regarding both of those blind men? If they knew he was the son of David, they must believe in the report that was given before. They must believe in the scriptures. For them to say son of David, they must believe in the Bible's report, in the law, statutes, commandments. See that? Thou son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was come into the house, the blind man came to him, and Yahawashi said unto them, Believe ye that I am able to do this? They said unto him, Yea, out of one, our power. Then touched he their eyes, saying, According to your faith, be it unto you. So what did he say? According to your faith. So according to your faith, what can you accomplish? According to your faith. So according to their faith, this is how Yahawashi healed them. Notice he said, according to your faith, be it unto you. Did these people try to be obedient? Of course. They were Israelites trying to have a good report. This by having a good report, sharpened their faith. They knew what problems they had concurring to the law already before they repented and came to Yahawashi. They already knew their issues according to the law. They already knew. But these are just not some random people who didn't believe in God, because that's the way the world makes it out to be. Some random person don't believe in God, ain't studied nothing. He just believes. Don't know nothing about who Christ really is. Don't even know he came from the tribe of Judah. Don't even know that Christ stood on Bible principles as far as keeping the commandments. This man argued with the doctors in the synagogue every day at 12 years old. So these men were studied up. Look at Matthew chapter 9 and 20. And it reads, And behold, a woman which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment. For she said within herself, If I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. What is the woman claiming already? That she's going to be touched and made what? Whole. Not partial, not 1/4 healed, but wholly healed. This is what she believed. She knew she was going to be made whole according to Yahawashi touching her and knowing who he was. But Yahawashi turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Now, how did he know that she wanted to be made whole? So she said, look at verse 21. But she said within herself. She didn't say it out loud. She said it within herself. If I touch him, he'll make me whole. And then Yahawashi turned around and says, thy faith hath made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. So it's what you have within yourself. What do you believe? You have the faith of the Most High Yahweh by HaMaShayach through his law, statutes, and commandments, through the obedience of his report, you'll be healed. Whatever you want, you'll get it. Whatever you desire, if it be his will, you'll get it. Remember, these were Israelites who believed. They believed that they would get healed by their faith. They kept the laws in that land. They lived in the land of Israel, so they had to keep those laws. Look at the Gospel of John, chapter 1. This is why faith is important. It's an important lesson because we always harp on the laws, but the faith is the belief, right? Belief in the report and the Father and the things that he'll do for us. He said that these are the promises that are come to us. These are the promises that our people are getting in the New Testament. Being healed. John chapter 1, verse 9. John chapter 1, verse 9. It reads, that was the true light which lighteth every man that cometh into the world, which is Yahawashi. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came into his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, like that woman and those blind men, but as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of the Most High, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of the Most High. So they knew who he was, thou son of David. They knew that they would be healed if they just touched the hem of his garment. They knew who this man was. Psalms 40 and 8. Psalms 40 and 8. Psalms 40 and 8. I delight to do thy will, O my power. Yea, thy law is within my heart. That law was in those people's hearts. When you read the New Testament, most of the people that Yahawashi healed, the law was in their hearts. They believed. For some reason, those on the streets believe a lot quicker. When we teach on the streets, the brothers and sisters out there already knew who we were because we used to come out there. They knew what we spoke about. They would have their Bibles out when we would come out there. There was one brother, when we teach downtown at night, he would come down and sit at the bus stop. He wouldn't interject with us. He'd just bring his Bible, and he'd sit down there at the bus stop and just follow the scriptures in the dark. Okay? Hey, it's a blessing when people know what you teach. The other people just walking by just agitating on purpose just to be seen. But some people was really trying to get the word. Matthew 7 and 21. Matthew chapter 7, verse 21. Everyone that saith unto me, HaMaShayach, HaMaShayach, Lord, Lord, Jesus, Jesus, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. But he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. I'll read that again. Not everyone that saith unto me, HaMaShayach, HaMaShayach, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. But he that doeth the will, like we read in Psalms 40 and 8, which is the will is the keeping of his law, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. It's almost like they took the law out of here on purpose so people wouldn't find their way. Many will say to me in that day, well, you have to remember this too. When the Israelites kept the law under the Romans' hands, a lot could happen to them. They didn't want them to, remember with the Greeks, they took away the law, they took away the feast days, they told them not to call themselves Jews anymore. So that's why a lot of people call themselves Gentiles. So maybe that's why they didn't put it in here out of fear. But he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, HaMaShayach, HaMaShayach, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils. And in thy name done many wonderful works. What works? Casting out devils. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So they never followed the will of the Father. They just used Yahawashi's name. Okay? People know, for example, people know who Michael Jordan is without ever even watching a game of Michael Jordan. Some people ain't never seen Michael Jordan play. It's just one of those cliches to say he's just like Michael Jordan because he was that good. People just automatically know that he was good. But nobody never seen what he did to be good. All right? That's the same thing with Yahawashi. Nobody never knew why he was Yahawashi, why he was born, why he came. Matthew 7:24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him into a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. So, with all this being said, Yahawashi said, you can't enter the kingdom unless you do the will of the Father. To work iniquity is a bad report. To do the Father's will is to have a good report. Acts chapter 22, verse 12. Acts chapter 22, verse 12, and it reads, and one, Ananias, a devout man, according to the law, having a good report of the Jews which dwelt there. So he had a good report, and that good report was according to the law. Just like we read in the Hebrews 11:1, our faith is a substance of things that are hoped for, having a good report by the elders, right? It's telling us right here, and one Ananias, a devout man, according to the law, having a good report. So according to the law, you got to have a good report. Verse 13, come unto me, and stood and said unto me, brother Saul, receive thy sight. And the same hour I looked up on him, and he said, the power of our Father have chosen you, and thou shouldest know his will. What is his will? Keeping his laws, having charity and mercy. And see that just one, and shouldest hear the voice of his mouth. For thou shalt be his witness unto all men of what thou hast seen and heard. So what did he see? He saw a good report, and he heard of a good report. All right, this brother was known for being honest in the law and having faith. So when you omit the law, right, when you omit the law, when you omit judgment, when you omit mercy, when you omit faith, meaning get rid of ignore, that's having a bad report. And a lot of our people think judgments are gone away with. A lot of people think sacrifice are done away with it. It's just refurbished in a different light. We sacrifice our bodies. Judgment still is here. These key points mentioned that I just mentioned about judgments, mercy, law, and faith, these key points have a lot to do with the scriptures. You got to have all of them. They're all necessary. What do I mean by judgment? The people of the world today do vicious things today, right? We see it all over the news media. They do vicious things to one another. They kill, they steal, they hurt, they carjack, they kill babies, they kill pregnant women. But they do all these things because they don't fear the judgment that Esau got set up anymore. You know, if there was righteous judgments, people will stop doing vicious crimes. I sent y'all a law last night and a video. I don't know how many of y'all saw that. But the video showed a sister in a park in London and it showed a brother who had 3 dogs, pit bulls. And the woman started running, and the brother lost control of the pit bulls. And they attacked the woman. And they started biting her all over, and you could just hear her screaming, screeching screams. And he could not pull those dogs off of her. He pulled off 2, and the other one get away. Then he tried to beat the one that was on her, then the other one to jump on her. So that pertains to a law. When something like that happens, the scriptures tell us in the book of Exodus that if a man has an animal, and he gouges on something, and I sent you all the scriptures last night, so you ain't got to go to it. But if a man has an animal and he gouges on a woman or a man in front of the owner after the owner's been warned or the owner's present and he can't stop it, those dogs are be put to death. The animal's supposed to be put to death no matter what. Okay? Today, they think twice on it. They don't even think the first thought is not to kill the animals. Even if the woman wasn't threatening the man in any way. It wasn't a self-defense. The dogs just charged her and started gouging her, started biting on her. The scripture says that the dogs are supposed to be put to death, and the man also, or a fine be paid by the man. I like to see the judgment that came on that while the woman is in the hospital suffering injuries. So we had laws just for this reason. This is how you have a good report. It's not just Exodus chapter 20. They have 613 laws, and those laws are so straightforward and so meticulous. The Most High covered everything. Everything. It's amazing how he covered everything. And you can use these things to judge the world today. And that's what it's going to take to bring order to this land. Let's go to Matthew chapter 23, verse 23. Matthew 23, verse 23. It reads, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithe or mint, and anise, and cumin." And those were rich spices back in those days. If you had that, you could always make money. "And have omitted the weightier matters," here it is, "of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith." They didn't show any of those things towards our people back then. "These are ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone. Ye blind guides would strain out a gnat and swallow a camel." These tribes that Yahawashi is talking about when he speaks about mint, anise, and cumin, and paying tithe, these type of things, this is a form of blackmail. All right? Blackmail is considered a crime. Fraud is considered a crime. Envelopes under the table for bribes are a crime. These are what the Pharisees and the Sadducees were involved in. City officials are involved in this today. City council members are involved in this. There's all types of bribes going on in the world today. And judgment is not in the world today because they judge the poor and not those who are filthy rich. Okay? The rich are doing so many crimes, white-collar crimes, they call it, and getting away with it. Look at 1 Samuel chapter 2. Hold that verse right there. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 2. The Bible's true. It's telling us about all these things. They judge on the wrong things. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 24. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 24. "Nay, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear. Ye make the Most High's people to transgress." See that? They make the people of the Most High's people to transgress. That's what the leaders do. Go back to Matthew 23 and 28. Matthew chapter 23, verse 28. "Even so, ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrites and iniquity." That's what Yahawashi said. "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous," charging people to go see the the tombs of the prophets. I heard one brother say, show me a tomb, this is recently, show me a tomb of some of the prophets, some of the people who died in Israel. Well, this is why you don't see the tombs. Obviously, he don't read the scriptures. Because our Pharisees and Sadducees, our people were making money off the tombs. This is where Isaiah died. This is the tomb. This is where Jacob was. He died right here. They were making money off that. No, it shouldn't be there. He was talking about, I don't believe anything because the tombs are not over there. Well, we had to move it. We had to take it out of there because our people was doing things wickedly. And say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets. Do these men have faith? Will it be accepted, breaking and committing all these hypocritical acts, these crimes? I don't think so. Men and women have to think on their ways and make haste to change very quickly. 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 1 reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. When thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, we've seen this in the last 20 years. This has been going back and forth with the uproars of the people. Verse 4, Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spoke of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. We read that about 2 Ezra chapter 6. Said that. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. The same way the world was created is the same way that it's going to switch over to Jacob's kingdom. Esau's kingdom is going to go out the same way as the earth was made. Verse 7, And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works, by his faith, and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land, and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. Sirach chapter 32, verse 14. Sirach chapter 32, verse 14. Whoso feareth the Most High will receive his discipline. Whoso feareth the Most High will receive his discipline. Remember, he said he chastised those that he loved, and they that seek him early shall find favor. Blessings. Verse 15. He that seeketh the law shall be filled therewith, but the hypocrite will be offended thereat. So these are the things that we have to understand when it comes to faith. We have to search for the law, seek it out, learn as much as we can, and walk with it in love towards the rest of the world through Yahawashi. All praise to the Most High for giving us this lesson. I hope this lesson was a blessing to you and your family. And with that,
this is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone, and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.